here and speak to the rest, your knees will also shake, like mine are shaking at this time. So if you don't motivate me, how do I tell you my story? Okay. The other thing which I must share with you before I say anything on the subject is the part that I thought that somebody will sit here and ask lots of questions. So I didn't prepare any presentation. I don't know what is supposed to be the flow of this conversation. So at the last minute, of course it's my mistake because I had said I won't be able to participate. And excuse me for a second. There is a lot of written here. Can you just do something with the speakers behind or something? There is a lot of written. So, hello. So when Mr. Gupte was speaking, I could at least understand the nice things. Hello? Okay, you keep trying. So, the mistake I made is that we had not confirmed our participation, so maybe the organizers didn't tell us. But nevertheless, they told us that we must tell you the Infrasoftec story. So that's how I am here. And I must share with you what happened in our lives and how a small company can make a lot of difference and significant positioning difference to an industry as serious as banking. So first of all, before I tell you the part which I am still trying to gather in my mind, I want to know how many of you are truly entrepreneurs. That everybody is an entrepreneur incidentally. Everybody is an entrepreneur because you do focus on results, you do take risks, you do make efforts more than what your 9 to 5 job is supposed to provide, and you go beyond the call of your duty. So all of you are entrepreneurs. So don't get me wrong, but people who are in small businesses, people who are running their own enterprises, how many of the audience are such people who are entrepreneurs? Okay. And who are rest? Are you working in the companies? People who are mid-management to senior management in the companies? Can people raise their hands? Oh, okay. So are rest of the people consultants? Okay. So a lot of entrepreneurs. Very well. Okay. I want to first go on where Ritu had left the stage. First of all, I believe she spoke extremely well. Therefore, I told you, why didn't you give her so much of clap as she deserved? Because she really, really spoke well. My observation is that the ideas she put forth in terms of what the consumption status of the country is and where it is supposed to go from where only large cities today are the business districts to the national aspiration of having to create 40 more new cities, and anyway look at where the major growth of the consumer industry is going to come from, or even the basic telecom growth which has happened in rural India. You see from where the country is going to go from today to next few years is actually merely a vertical growth which is going to be caused by small entrepreneurs, cities which are not seen today, and people who are buying something today but will start buying nearly everything which you offer in coming days just because of communication, networks, infrastructure and all of that reaching there. So that's the part where she focused, and I want to explain to you. I come from 3 associations. My major Infrasoft Technology is a banking software company. It's a software solutions company. So I come from NASSCOM. I am in NASSCOM's what they call as National Product Council. I'm a part of that. I'm also a part of their Western Region Council here in Mumbai. I have been the chair of IT committee in Bombay Chambers of Commerce for many years. I'm an evangelist as a founding team member in a new think tank which has come up for software products in the country, for pushing software product companies' growth in the country, which is called iSpirit in Bangalore. So what I want to share with you is that all of us who have talked about Silicon Valley and the revolution in US for so many years are likely to, and most certainly are going to see that happening in India in coming times. NASSCOM has put up, I want to give you some data. For last 25 years, NASSCOM is now completing its 25 years in existence. It is one of the most premier trade associations for IT industries in the world. And it has caused huge amount of significant policy differences for which this country is reaching $100 billion in terms of its size of exports. Today, if you see NASSCOM's initiatives, they were primarily driven towards having to make scale in the country, having to serve international markets. And they achieved that. Past 11 years, they have been focused in creating the new set of entrepreneurs, which are product entrepreneurs. So I want to give you an example of a NASSCOM Product Council meet, which used to happen in Bangalore a few years back, which was 5 years back. And it used to have a one-room, one-day conference and about 100 or 150 CEOs or participants from product companies, buyers, sellers included. This year, the year of October 2001-04, they had 1,400 people participating in Bangalore, and the event had to be spread over 3 days, 3 days in one hotel and 5 days spread over Bangalore in 4 locations. And 30% of people had come from international locations. And if I just put that on top and I go back, this is the way numbers have been growing over a period of time. NASSCOM has a plan which is called the 10,000K Startup Plan. And this is where it will probably come very close to what Silicon Valley is in terms of having to create 10,000 new startups in IT industry and creating IP, intellectual property in the country, which is such a big dream for India to be on the leading forefront. Why we are called as a leading IT services nation, we are going to be a leading IP creator of the world and have 10,000 new companies opening up in this country, implying that 10,000 more people will become entrepreneurs. They will employ roughly up to about 25 to 50 people, and you see the size of employment which is quadrupling, and they will create products and solutions which are made in India or made in India, whichever way you want to see, which will be not only sold abroad, but also sold in India in a big way. So that's the plan which each of the industry associations is pushing through for their specific industries, where they are focusing on smaller enterprises, focusing on new thought leadership, focusing on new capital, focusing on new values which are coming. I'm also a part of a group which has sent me here, which is called Lead Angels. Lead Angels is again an angel investing platform. Who do they invest in? They invest in organizations which have yet to start. They have a concept, and organizations which are early startups who have already got some customers and a proven product, and now they require capital to grow, and it's a small capital. So angel platforms are created by people like me and you who want to put risk capital and don't want to just put all their money in an ITC or a Reliance or a Liber stock, which is or Infosys and so on and so on, TCS and so on and so forth. They want to put money in private equity, but give it to entrepreneurs who are doing innovation, who are taking risks of their own careers and earnings and creating something new. Lead Angels, which started about a year back, it completed its 1 year, a month back, has already begun investing, and the amount of people who used to come present once a month earlier were about 3, and today now there is a wait list. And therefore Lead Angels has created Ahmedabad and Mumbai, Delhi chapters. And I want to assure you that as the number of entrepreneurs who are increasing in terms of coming to Lead Angels and several such platforms, there are also people growing in the background who want to invest in such companies. So when such a community is interacting and engaging, it is obviously the new India which is rising in terms of absolute growth, which you will see in new entrepreneurs, new businesses which are going to come up. So this was to just check whether you are still interested in knowing about InfraSoftTech, because I wanted to share with you that whatever Ritu said in her beginning address and on respected Mr. Gupte said in his address next, is the part of growing the new India through smaller enterprises, and that's whole truth and nothing but the truth. About what happened to Infosoft Tech, you must first know what the company is today. We are, those of you who are familiar with the software industry would know that India does not have many established software product companies, stories, and that is the reason why there is a focus now to build the software products, stories of software product companies out of India in a strong way. So we are considered a company which has done some amount of reasonable, respectable success in the international market. So to tell you who we are, today we are about 1,000 people strong. In 2014, touching 2015 March, we are about 1,000 people. We are spread in 32 countries. We have our major businesses coming in UK, happening in UK, and rest of it is in Middle East, Southeast Asia, Africa, and India contributes about 25%. If you have an account in cooperative bank in India, anywhere, there is a more likelihood that the statement which you see or the internet banking transaction you do or the ATM card which you use or any kind of a transaction which you do, and if you are happy with your cooperative bank account, it is because Infosoft Tech Solution is running that bank. We have 60% of market share of all the centralized enterprise banking solutions running cooperative banks in India. 60% market share, that's about 150 banks in the country run enterprise banking solution, a SAP-like enterprise banking solution in the country. If ever, and those of you who are in exports market, if ever you have been questioned by an authority in any country, in 32 countries, with regards to your money laundering kind of a transaction or from where your foreign currency transaction has appeared and so on and so forth, it's most likely to be coming from a bank which uses Infosoft Tech's anti-money laundering solution. We have more than 150 banks again internationally who are money laundering prevention platform or fraud prevention platform. It runs from Mexico on one end to Jakarta on the other. So it really covers some 32 large countries. Similarly, on the microfinance front, if you know about the new set of organizations which are growing up to support micro-entrepreneurs, we have 11 of them, and internationally about another 20, so about 32 organizations which are using our platform on microfinance. So this is what Infosoft Tech is today. It is rated by Gartner. Gartner is one of the major premium research organizations which looks at every industry and puts what is called as a magic quadrant. So Infosoft Tech is in their magic quadrant with our banking solutions for last 5 years. And I forgot to also tell you that if you do travel in London and if you do a transaction with any of the top 5 banks there, most of them, all of them are in fact Infosoft Tech customers. And if you include Canada, 5 banks there, 11 of the world's top 20 banking brands. And when I'm removing the 9 because we don't have much of the presence in US or in Japan, so of the top 20 brands in the world, 11 banking brands have a long-lasting relationship with Infosoft Tech despite being a smaller company in size. So this is a profile which got created out of an entrepreneurial organization. And this is a profile which got created without much of a capital. It got created simply because probably, besides of course the support of customers and people and God's grace and luck, which are all very important. All 4 of them are very important. Besides all of this, I think we did certain things right. And we did certain things which were important. So let me just complete that Gartner part of the story. There is another research organization called Celent. Celent covers major financial services software industry brands Infrasoft has been one of the leading companies in their brands for in their research reports for last 5 years. International banking systems for last 10 years. Similarly, Frost and Sullivan, which is one of the most well-known consulting brands in the world, have rated Infrasoft as the best banking solutions brand for mid-sized bank, and so on and so forth. So the sign of a good software company, incidentally, besides other things, is that have you got good customer retention and people retention? And ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely proud to tell you that our first customer which gave us an 8.6 lakh rupees business in 1995 still gave us a 2.5 crore upgrade order in 2014. And the customers like Royal Bank of Scotland, Royal Bank of Canada, Citibank, BNP Paribas, and those which are in Western world, they are working with us from 10 to 15 years kind of a duration. Indian banks from last 18 to 28 kind of a duration. So we are extremely proud of that part of relationship. The other, that in software industry, people leave jobs very, very quickly. Our senior management and mid management has a retention rate which is above 95%, and at the bottom of the pyramid, the youngsters, where the industry jump rate, in bad times has been 40%, and in the times when markets were not doing well was about 25% jump rate. That is attrition. Our attrition has been less than 11% at all points of time. So our retention has been more than 89% at all points of time. So these are some things which I wanted to just tell you as figures.